Merchandise may be purchased and sold either on credit terms or for cash on delivery. When goods are sold on account, a period of time called credit period is allowed for payment. The length of the period varies across industries and may even vary within an entity, depending on the product. When goods are sold on credit, both parties should have an understanding as the amount and time of payment, as it may cause fraud or one may take advantage if you don't have these two informations. These are usually printed on the side's invoice and constitute part of the sales agreement. If the credit period is 30 days, then the payment is expected between 30 days from the invoice date. The credit period is usually described as the net period or net terms. The credit period of 30 days is noted as N over 30. If the invoice is due 10 days after the end of the month, it may be marked as N over 10 EOM.
Activity 1, What I Know chart. Describe at least one difference between sales returns and sales discount. As far as I remember, sales discounts is a reduced price offered by a business on a product, while return is a merchandise that is sent back by a buyer to the seller. Number 2, what is cash discount? Cash discounts. It is when a seller's offer to a buyer in return for paying bills after the due date. Number 3, what is FOB shipping point? FOB shipping point or the free on-board shipping point. It is the shipping point that holds the sellers liable for the goods until the goods begin their transport to the customer. Discounts may be categorized as follows. A. Cash discounts are called purchase discounts from the buyer's viewpoint, and sales discounts from the seller's point of view. Trade discounts encourage the buyer to purchase products because of markdowns from the list price. B. Trade discounts encourage buyers to purchase product due to the markdowns from the price list. Sales discounts example: assume that Sun Trader sold merchandise on June 20 for 5,000. Terms 2 over 10 and over 30. At the time of the sales, the entry is June 20, containing accounts receivable with 5,000, sales with also 5,000. The customer may take advantage of the sales discounts anytime on or before June 30, which is 10 days after the date of the invoice. If the customer paid on June 30, the entry is June 30. Cash 4,900. Sales discount 100. Account receivable 5,000. Sales return and allowance. Buyer may return goods to the seller for credit if the sale was made on account of for cash refund if the sales was for cash. Each return or allowance is recorded is a debit to an account called sales returns and allowance. Example, May 18, sales returns and allowance 2,500, accounts receivable or cash 2,500. To record return or allowance on unsatisfactory merchandise. Purchase discounts. Merchandise purchased are usually made or credit and commonly involve purchase discounts for early payments. Example, assume that Jedi Company purchased merchandise on March 10 for 6,000 pesos. Term 1 over 15 and over 30. The entry is March 10 purchase 6,000. Accounts payable 6,000. If the company paid March 20, the entry is March 20 accounts payable 6,000. Purchase discount 60, cash 5,940. Because the company paid on March 20, so the company has purchase discount 60 pesos. Purchase returns and allowance. Sales returns and allowance in the seller's books are recorded as purchase returns and allowance in the book of the buyer. Example, November 18. Accounts payable 2,500. Purchase return and allowance 2,500. To record returns of lamed merchandise purchased on November 2.
Let us proceed to activity number 3, skill building activities. Number 1. The entry to record a sale of 7,500 pesos with terms of 2/10 and over 30 would include A. Debit to sales discounts for 150 pesos. B. Debit to sales for 7,350 pesos. C. Credit to accounts receivable for 7,500 pesos. And D. Credit to sales for 7,500 pesos. The answer for number 1 is letter D. Credit to sales for 7,500 pesos. Because we will debit to accounts receivable for 7,500 pesos and credit to sales for 7,500 pesos. Number 2. The collection of a 4,000 account within the 2% discount period would result in A. Debit to sales discounts for 80 pesos. B. Debit to accounts receivable for 3,920 pesos. C. Credit to cash for 3,920 pesos. And D. Credit to accounts receivable for 3,920 pesos. And the answer for number 2 is letter A. Debit to sales discounts for 80 pesos. The explanation for this answer is debit to cash for 3,920 pesos, debit to sales discounts for 80 pesos, and credit to accounts receivable for 4,000 pesos. That would explain the answer for number 2. Number 3. The collection of a 5,000 account beyond the 2% discount period would result in A. Debit to cash for 4,900 pesos. B. Credit to accounts receivable for 5,000 pesos. C. Credit to cash for 5,000 pesos. And D. Debit to sales discounts for 100 pesos. The answer for number 3 is letter B. Credit to accounts receivable for 5,000 pesos. The explanation for our answer is debit to cash for 5,000 pesos and credit to accounts receivable for 5,000 pesos. Number 4. Goods totaling 50,000 were purchased February 2 with the terms of 2/10 and over 30. Returns of 10,000 were made on February 10. How much discount, if any, can be availed if the invoice was paid on February 12? A. None. B. 1,000 pesos. C. 800 pesos. And D. 200 pesos. And the answer for question number 4 would be letter C. 800 pesos. That's because 50,000 minus 10,000 is equal to 40,000. And 40,000 times 2% is equal to 800. Again, the answer for question number 4 is letter C, 800 pesos. Number 5, the entry to record the payment on a 15,000 account within the 2% discount period would include A. Debit to cash for 15,000. B. Debit to accounts payable for 14,700. C. Credit to purchase discounts for 300. And D. Credit to accounts payable for 15,000. For question number 5, the answer is letter C. Credit to purchase discount for 300. That is because debit to accounts payable is 15,000 pesos, credit to purchase discount for 300 pesos, and credit for cash is 14,700 pesos. So that's why our answer is letter C. Credit to purchase discount for 300. Number 6. A 5,000 purchases on account was made. The entry to record the payment on account after the expiration of the 2% discount period would include A. Debit to accounts payable for 5,000. B. debit to purchase discounts for 100, C. Credit to cash for 4,900, and D. Credit to accounts payable for 4,900. And the answer for question number 6 is letter A. Debit to accounts payable for 5,000. That is because we will debit to accounts payable for 5,000 and credit to cash for 5,000. Question number 7. A buyer received an invoice for 6,000 dated June 10. If the terms are 2/10 and over 30 and the buyer paid the invoice within the discount period, what amount will the seller receive? A. 6,000, B. 5,880, C. 4,800, and D. 120. And the answer for number 7 is letter B. 5,880. That is because 6,000 times 2% is equal to 120, and 6,000 minus 120 is equal to 5,880 pesos. Question number 8. The purchase discounts account is a contra account to A. Accounts payable, B. Sales, C. Purchases, and D. Sales discount. And the answer for number 8 is letter C. Purchases. Question number 9. The account that appears in the chart of accounts for merchandising entity but not for a service entity is A. Accounts receivable, B. Advertising expense, C. Sales returns and allowances, and D. Service revenue. And the answer for question number 9 is letter C. Sales returns and allowances. Question number 10. Grace Company bought merchandise for 8,000, terms of 2/10 and over 30. If Grace returns 2,000 of the goods to the vendor, the entry to record the return should include A. Debit to accounts payable of 2,000 pesos, B. Debit to discounts lost of 40 pesos, C. Credit to purchase returns and allowances of 1,960 pesos, and D. Debit to purchase returns and allowances of 1,960 pesos. The answer for our last number 10, is letter A. Debit to accounts payable for 2,000 pesos. Because we will debit to accounts payable for 2,000 pesos and credit to purchase returns and allowances for 2,000 pesos.
Hello everyone, my name is Samantha, Austria from Group 5, and I'm here to discuss the difference between sales returns and sales discounts. So discounts are categorized into two. One would be the cash discounts and the other one is trade discounts. So under cash discounts, there are two viewpoints. One viewpoint would be the buyer's viewpoint. We call it purchase discounts. The other viewpoint would be the seller's viewpoint, and that's what we call sales discounts. So it is a reduction in the price of a product or service that is offered by the seller in exchange for early payment by the buyer. So the other one would be the sales returns and allowances. Sales returns and allowances are actually separate things, but on accounting they're identical, meaning they are deducted from sales. So sales returns, to be specific, is if the customer decided to return defective products for a refund. So that's where we're going to record the sales returns. Sales allowances, though, to be specific, is if the customer decided to keep the defective product in exchange to a lower price. That's where we're going to record it, sales allowance. So the main difference between sales returns and sales discounts is that sales discounts as I understand it, is it is the initial transaction where the customer or the seller is given a price break if they're going to buy it on credit, usually on credit, and pay the bill early. While sales returns is that it is the aftermath of the transaction, meaning the customer already received the product, they checked the product, and somehow there are defective products to be returned and they wanted to request a refund. So that's the difference between sales returns and sales discount as I understand it. Let's move to cash discount. So earlier I mentioned that discounts are categorized into two. One is cash discounts and then the other one is trade discounts. So under cash discounts, we have two viewpoints. One viewpoint would be the buyer's viewpoint, which is the purchase discount, and then the seller's viewpoint, which is the sales discount. So in general, cash discount is an incentive offered by a seller to a buyer for paying an invoice ahead of the scheduled date, usually by a percentage of the total bill. Example, if an invoice is due in 30 days, a seller could offer the buyer a typical cash discount of either 1 at most 2% if they're able to pay the invoice within the first 10 days upon receiving it. So that is cash discounts. Now for the next topic would be the meaning of FOB, shipping point. So first of all, the meaning of FOB or free on board is shipments made via waterways. So it does not apply to any goods transported by vehicle or by air. FOB shipping point, as I understand it, is the buyer pays the delivery of the goods and takes responsibility for the loss or damages the moment goods get sent to the shipper. This also happens as soon as the shipment leaves the seller's warehouse. So again, the FOB shipping point, the buyer must pay the delivery of the goods and takes responsibility for the loss or damages the moment goods get to the shipper. That's all. Thank you and have a great day.
And for the next part of Module 11, Activity 5, which is the check for understanding part. Directions is right true if the statement is correct and false if incorrect. For number 1, cash discounts are called purchase discounts from the buyer's point of view. So the answer is true. From the buyer's viewpoint, cash discounts are called purchase discounts, while from the seller's viewpoint, these are called sales discounts. And this statement can be seen in the main lesson part of our module. Number 2, the sales discount account is a contra income account and will have a debit balance. The answer here is true. When we are recording sales discounts, we are putting it on the debit side. Number 3, a credit term of 2/10 and N/30 means that the buyer may deduct 2% from the invoice if payment is made within 10 days from the end of the month. The answer is false because a 2% discount may be deducted if payment is made within 10 days from the invoice date and not from the end of the month. Number 4, purchase returns and allowances is a deduction from purchases. This is true because, of course, when there are returns and allowances, we need to deduct them from the purchases. Number 5, when the terms of the sale include a sales discount, it is usually advisable for the buyer to pay within the discount period. The answer is true. In order to have a discount on buyer's purchases, the buyer must pay within the discount period. Number 6, the terms 2/10 and N/30 means that a 2% discount is allowed on payments made over 10 but before 30 days after the invoice date. The answer is false because it should be within 10 days and not over 10 days. Number 7, The entry to record the return of goods from a customer would include a credit to sales returns and allowances. The answer is false because when we record the returns or sales returns and allowances, we must put it on the debit side. Number 8. The entry to record a sale of 7,500 pesos with terms of 2/10 and over 30 would include a credit to sales for 7,500 pesos. The answer is true because this is how we record sales, and you can see some examples in our main lesson part of the module. Number 9. The collection of a 4,000 pesos account within the 2% discount period would result in a credit to accounts receivable for 3,920 pesos. The answer is false because the accounts receivable will not be affected by the discount and the amount would still be 4,000 pesos. And the last item, number 10, the collection of a 5,000 pesos account beyond the 2% discount period would result in a debit to sales discount for 100 pesos. The answer is false because in order to have discount, payment should be made within the discount period. Therefore, there will be no sales discount that should be recorded because it was paid beyond the discount period.